Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. This is another one that Tony had sent me. That is Ghost Ship. I won't go for the obvious joke. Ghost shit! Yeah, it's about as clever as the tagline. See evil! Get it? S-E-A though. See evil. Might as well be see men, because that's what this movie can swallow. I don't agree with this. One of the scariest, most original horror movies in years? Rob Blackwelder of the San Francisco Examiner? You haven't seen many horror films then. I mean, Ghost Ship, See Evil, Semen in Your Mouth. Even the cover. Let me show you this. Yeah, this is an older film. I mean, fuck. I mean, this movie's so goddamn original, it ripped off this cover. And this is a better cover, and honestly, in my opinion, a better movie. From 1980 with Richard Crenna and George Kennedy. Perfect? No. But I prefer this because it had more of a slow build, atmosphere. Has some instances that seem a bit creepy, especially the sequence where things are turned from normal and oh my god, now this room, it's a Nazi room, and they're, I just, if I describe it more, I'll be doing like a full day. I reviewed this a long time ago. It was like when I had a 15-minute limit, but Death Ship, I'm one of the few that like the film, but I definitely prefer it over this. Okay, this is made by the company of Dark Castle. Now, pretty much a group of people, Joel Silver, Robert Zemeckis, and I guess the third guy is Gilbert Adler, but I thought it was another guy. They would want to produce horror films, and they produced. First, there was a couple remakes, which I actually don't mind. The House on Haunted Hill remake, I liked. I actually liked that film. The ending could have been better because the CGI mist ghost is kind of a letdown. Not kind of, it's a letdown. But the rest of it I enjoy. I enjoyed Jeffrey Rush's performance. I liked the cast. I just liked the environment that they were in, and I thought it was a better directed movie. I remember it being a lot better than the other haunted movie, The Haunting, because they were both in 1999. And then the director of this film, before this, made 13 Ghosts, which I don't mind 13 Ghosts. Again, I have some little problems with it, but overall, I like Tony Shalhoub. I don't mind Matthew Lillard. I like the look of the 13 Ghosts. And you had some fun gore moments, and I liked the design of the house was interesting. And I didn't mind the film 13 Ghosts. Perfect? No, but I didn't mind the film. I definitely like it better than this. This, your cast is Gabriel Byrne, who I like Gabriel Byrne in films like End of Days. He was in The Usual Suspects, which I haven't seen forever. I remember not minding it. You have Julianna Margulies, who I remember was in Snakes in a Plane, or Snakes on a Plane. Ron Eldard, Desmond Harrington, who I liked in the first Wrong Turn. He was sort of became the hero in a way in the first Wrong Turn. Isaiah Washington, he's been in films like Steven Seagal's Exit Wounds. Karl Urban, I didn't even realize Karl Urban was in this film. Then when I watched it, like, oh shit, that's Karl Urban, who of course would be going to be in Dread. There's just not much to this film for me. I know it has a bit of a fan base, but I prefer House on Haunted Hill remake. I prefer what was the 13 Ghosts remake. Hey, remakes I don't mind. I don't hate all remakes. See, those are two examples of it. I like this film more. It's more of a this film's more of a slow build. It's definitely not flashy. It's definitely not as gory. But I don't know, I just felt the atmosphere more in this flick. But this film has its problems too, but I prefer this. Other films I prefer, Below, that David Twohy made, which was sort of a ghost story and a submarine. Session 9, which is definitely a much more subtle film than this. Event Horizon, which there's bits in here that seem like they rip off Event Horizon. And Event Horizon, I think, is a much better movie than this. I'm watching this film, I'm like, why don't we just watch Event Horizon? Get into the film more in depth. I'll say this, it has some fun gore. It kind of shoots his wad very, very early on. Like, really, it orgasms very quickly. More than even me. It just came too quickly, and then after this big orgasm of gore, then you're like, the rest of it's not much to ramble about. It makes his titles look like I Love Lucy. I guess to invoke some old feeling, because it takes place, this little flashback in the past on this ocean liner, and this little girl gets offered to dance by the captain, and then someone releases a mechanism, and this is the big gore moment. This is like, well, most people talk about this film, they talk about the opening of this movie, where this wire goes through this entire crowd. And again, very well done effects, pretty damn gory. Definitely an oh shit moment. These people get cut in half, cut in half, cut in half, sliding off slowly, body parts littering the floor, tons of blood. The captain, this part of his head just slips off. Although if you think about it, it doesn't make sense because, well, I mean, first off, I don't know if a wire could be that fucking sharp to do that through that many people. I mean, I think after a while it was like, stop. Okay, but that's nitpicking. Here's the thing I don't really get about that. See, if you watch it, most people is cutting in half like this, like right here. But there's some reason it doesn't hit the little girl. It would have been at her height. And then for some reason, it's hitting everyone in the waist. But when it gets to the captain who's dancing to the girl, it jumps up to the guy's head. And the head's like sliding down like this. But then everyone else is at the waist. It's like, waist, waist, cut your waist. Oh shit, jump up, cut this guy's head. Waist, waist. It's like the wire just said, fuck it, let's jump up. And then jump down again. It's just one of those things I'm watching, I'm like, that's kind of weird. Everyone gets cut in half except the captain gets this part cut off. I'm like, I know it's a nitpick, but I had to mention because it's kind of funny mentioning it. But I'm like, okay, even with that, wow, this is a pretty cool gore scene for a gorehound. I mean, well done effects. I believe, I want to say TMB had a hand in this. But I'm like, okay, that's a way to start your movie. Except the problem is that's the best part of the movie. That is the best part of the film. Because the rest of the film, you have a bunch of salvagers led by Gabriel Byrne and Desmond Harrington, who I thought he did a good job in Wrong Turn. Here, he is very boring. He was just not that good in this film. I mean, he had no life and emotion to him. Even before we find out the twist at the end, he's just pretty damn bad. And again, I thought he did a pretty good job in Wrong Turn for what he had to do. Here, not so much. But he's the one who shows photos of this boat that he saw to this group of salvagers, which again are Gabriel Byrne. All you know about him is he's the captain, and he may have had a drinking problem in the past. Julianna Margulies, who I thought she was pretty boring, to be honest. Kind of wooden at times. I don't know, I just thought she was pretty boring. I mean, she's not the worst. She's not, but I thought she was pretty boring, and I didn't really, if I had to say at the end of the day, I didn't really care for her performance. It was just too, the word boring just is the best way to describe it. Isaiah Washington, which the only thing about him is that he has a woman that he wants to get married, so of course that should be a neon sign of this guy's going to die. Plus, oh my god, he's black, so he's going to die. And he does. He's one of the first to die, to be honest. Not the first, but one of the first. They go on a boat. The driver of the boat is listening to this shitty song by Mudvayne called Not Falling, which is at the end credits of the film. If people like the song, that's fine. I thought it was an awful song. Horrible. I did not like that song at all. I thought it didn't fit with the film at all. I mean, you try and tell a ghost story on a ship, and then this guy's listening, falling, not falling. I'm like, at least with House on Haunted Hill, when it was Marilyn Manson, at least it was more of a quiet, sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I? At least he's starting off slow in his song, and then it picks up. Especially at the end of the film, it's really inappropriate. So I thought the soundtrack was pretty awful in this film. The score that I could pick out was alright in parts by John Frizzell, but not enough to make much of an impression. They find the ocean liner, the Antonio Graza. They look around. Karl Urban falls through a hole. Julianna Margulies is pulling him up, and she sees a little girl. They realize, oh my god, this is a great find. Which, by this point, it's made me think of Virus with Jamie Lee Curtis, which that's another bad movie. Good special effects in that movie. And like here, there's some good gore. But they both have this problem of the characters are really not much to run home about. It's not really scary, suspenseful. Although, I don't know, I'd probably pick Virus over this, only for the fact that I do think the effects in Virus were really fun to watch. But, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis just seemed like she was phoning it in that movie. That was a problem I had with the film. And I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm actually wanted to praise the Virus, but I know there's some people who are a fan of Virus. To me, Virus that's another movie that has really good special effects, but that's really all there is to it. And I don't know what the deal is. You have these films about these salvagers finding a boat, and then you have good creature effects or good gore effects, but then it doesn't make a good movie, at least to me, because neither film had an atmosphere to it. And the cast didn't really have much to work with script-wise, and not much bits of dialogue memorable, or not really that great of a score that I can remember. And you're just sort of waiting for the next special effect. You're waiting here for the next gore scene. And again, it shot its wad, because that's the best scene, was the wire that rips apart everyone. Because really, it's like, okay, we need to tug this boat. Oh shit, it's leaking. So we gotta patch it up. Okay, let's look around. We're gonna patch it up. The Julianna Margulies, I'll just call her Julianna. She goes into an empty pool. She goes up. She sees the girl. She falls on her back. She goes up again. You see little blood going through these holes of the pool. And then the pool fills up, and that effect was kind of... Well, the pool filling up was kind of shoddy, a little bit shoddy. She gets with Desmond Harrington. They open this hatch. There's bodies that go out. They look around some more. Karl Urban, this other guy, steer the shit out of her, and they're in these sheets. She tells about the bodies. They find this gold. Hey, let's go to the boat and leave. They go to the boat and leave. Oh shit, they started, boom, it blows up. It kills the driver of the boat. Isaiah Washington, who warned people, hey, we need to get off this boat. They didn't listen to him. Karl Urban and his buddy are eating, and then there's maggots, which that just reminded me of the Lost Boys. I'm gonna eat it, Michael. It's good for you, Michael. Just made me think of the Lost Boys, to be honest. Isaiah Washington sees this hall, this floor that he's in, fix himself all up, and he doesn't seem that impressed by it. I mean, he's looking around like this, and he sees a ghost of a woman in a red dress, and he just goes, well, I know this isn't real, so I'll just go with it. And pretty much the lady leads him to fall to his death. And I'm like, wait a minute, that seems familiar. Oh yeah, that's like Event Horizon, how Kathleen Quinlan died. How did Kathleen Quinlan die? Well, if it was a bit more, it made more sense because Kathleen Quinlan thought she was looking at her son, who had some problems, physical problems, and she was freaking out, going to her son. But hey, something, a ghost or whatever, makes a character go over here, fall to their death, and get impaled. Pretty much. I saw that done in Event Horizon, and I thought it was done better. I mean, I like the way in Event Horizon how it was filmed when she's falling, and she not really get impaled, but she slams really hard, and I like the way the shot looks of her coming down, and I'm like, wow, they just stole that from Event Horizon. And then, oh, Gabriel Byrne is drinking, and there's a ghost bartender who I think he's like the captain or the old captain. I'm like, wow, this isn't like The Shining much. And then he sees a burnt corpse of the guy who died blown up on the ship, his crew member. And I'm like, that also reminds me of Event Horizon, where Lawrence Fishburne was seeing his burnt crewman from the past scaring him and trying to chase after him. And I had to just watch Event Horizon. Better directed movie, better film. It was cool. I think the cast worked better. I thought it was just flowed at a better pace. There was more to it. We got more into the story. Much better movie than this. I mean, that's two things from Event Horizon. Oh, some ghost or whatever leading your character to fall down to their death. Oh, here's a burnt crewman from the past that this character knows and is scaring the shit out of him. And Gabriel Byrne thinks, oh my god, Julianna is the burnt crewman, is fighting her, but Desmond knocks him out and they put him in a pit. Which that reminded me of House on Haunted Hill remake when they fucked up Jeffrey Rush and put him in, not a pit, but put him in this tank. The rest are trying to fix their boats, fix that boat while Julianna's looking for Isaiah Washington and she finds him impaled. The little girl shows Julianna more of the massacre from the past. And it seems like whenever the massacre from the past happens, that's like the best parts of the movie. Because you have the crazy gore scene, and then the little girl is showing all the chaos happening. Like people were poisoned, the wire that we saw at the beginning, people getting shot to shit. Although I do think the music was a bit inappropriate. I can't really hum the music, but I don't know. I just didn't care for the piece of music, the song that they used. I don't remember which song specifically it was, but I don't know the name of it. And even the killers themselves got shot by this one guy, and then the woman in red shot that guy, and then you find out this mysterious figure releases this chain that hooks underneath her chin and kills her, and you find out the mysterious person is Desmond Harrington, the guy who led him there. He's some soul collector. And the rest of the deaths are really lame, in my opinion. I mean, like Gabriel Byrne, she's like, oh no, and goes to release him, and instead the tank was filled up and he drowned. And she finds him that way. Karl Urban is swimming underwater with his gear on, and I guess he got caught in a gear. Because I didn't see anything get caught in the gear like a leg or a flipper. It just, he's swimming, then he's like, whoop, whoop, and then he gets caught up in the gear, and you see a little bit of blood, and then you see some aftermath body parts. There goes Karl Urban. There goes Dredd. Julianna sets the explosives. The Ron Eldard, who has blonde hair. He's watching Desmond, shoots him. Desmond opens his eyes, and then it cuts away to Ron Eldard, and you can pretty much guess that that's not him if you've seen enough horror movies. And of course it's not, so that guy with the blonde hair, he got killed off screen. I don't know how he got killed. We never know. Desmond tries to choke her in the water. She comes up with a harpoon gun, spear, and shoots, sets off explosives. Somehow she got the fuck out of there. Maybe she teleported. I don't know. I'm sure whatever. And then it released all the souls, or they're going to heaven or whatever. And she gets found, put into an ambulance. While she's in the ambulance, she sees Desmond Harrington going back on the ship again, and the Gold going back again on another ship. And this is what I'm talking about. As she sees him through the ambulance, that fucking Mudvayne song plays. And then she's like, no! As the doors close and the movie ends, I'm like, okay, are you trying to set up a sequel? Or are you trying to set up... I mean, I don't even think the other films did that. Like the Dark Castle films. Hell, they made a sequel to House on Haunted Hill and it didn't set up a sequel. It didn't need a sequel. Here I'm like... I think it's a lame ending. It's a very inappropriate song. It's like, oh shit. Yeah, but yeah, but I'm like, what the fuck is up with this fucking song? This fucking song is fucking stupid. So yeah, I mean, again, one of the scariest. There's no scares. Most original horror movies. I named this film from 1980. I named Event Horizon, where this rips off scenes from Event Horizon, and The fucking Shining. I mean, shitty songs in the soundtrack, at least in my opinion. The casts are pretty boring cast, although the script doesn't give them much to do, by Mark Hamill and John Pode. The score, I can't remember a damn thing about the score. Julianna, she's kind of a boring lead. Not even kind of, she's a boring lead. Not much to her. Desmond Harrington was pretty boring. Isaiah Washington was given nothing to do. Same with Karl Urban. He was really given nothing to do, and I like Karl Urban. Gabriel Byrne, he was pretty much there to be a captain, and he drinks a little bit, then he dies. Aftermath, drowned. It shot his wad early on. The gore scene at the beginning was really cool, but then the rest of the death scenes, Isaiah Washington falls, and then Aftermath, we find him, he's been impaled. A guy, Aftermath, he's drowned. Karl Urban is pulled into the gears, you see a little bit of blood, and then you see some body parts after. The guy with the blonde hair, he died off screen. Like, the rest of the death scenes are pretty lame. The spookiness is not spooky at all. This film is not really atmospheric. I don't mind the look of the ship. I just like the idea of a ghost ship, because there's not many of those kind of films. And I would prefer this, because this one is more subtle. I don't know, I thought there were certain little parts that were actually kind of creepy. And I know a lot of people hate this film. I just prefer the subtlety of this, or Below, Session 9, or even films like Event Horizon, or The Shining by Jack Nicholson, or even a House on a Hill remake and 13 Ghosts. Which is funny, Dark Castle just kept making ghost movies for a while. House on a Hill remake. Ultimately, it was ghosts. It was a fake out, but then there were some spirits. 13 Ghosts, the title says all. Ghost ship. But, I mean, you look at the cover, it just shows the lack of originality in it. I mean, it's nothing really clever. It's nothing really interesting. I mean, the only thing is maybe the idea of the Desmond Harrington character being a soul collector. That's not the most, you know, you don't see that in every movie. But even then, it's like, okay. Seemed like there was many moments where he could have just killed someone and blamed it on the rain. Or yeah, yeah, or blame it on some shit. I mean, again, they seem like even when he was going with Julianna, he could have just killed her, or maybe. I mean, I don't know. Seemed like the ghost didn't do much. I mean, Deers turned on by itself. All you saw was really you didn't really see many ghosts, except for the woman in red. I mean, and the little girl, who I guess the little girl is helping Julianne because the soul collector, cannot control her, because I guess she is without sin or something like that. But it seemed like the ghost didn't really do much, and the Steve Beck tries to pump up the film with some flashy visuals, but I just didn't buy it. This film just wasn't much to me. See evil. No. See a better movie. See men in your mouth and swallow. I know I use that joke too many times. It's not even that funny. Important notice. If you watch this film, be prepared to shit a brick. Anyway, I'm just winding down here. I got no. A lot of people on YouTube like the film, and that's fine if you like the film. I don't get what's so good about this flick. I really don't. I mean, again, 13 Ghosts I don't mind. House on a Hill remake I don't mind. I just think there's been a lot better ghost movies than Ghost Ship. Again, cool opening. That's pretty much it. You just watch that opening on YouTube, you got the movie. Or hell, watch the music video of that shitty song, and it shows pretty much the whole movie in the music video. It really does, because it's on this Blu-ray. It's like a little 15-minute making of, a little bit look at the effects, the trailer, a tour of the ship, which I don't mind the interior of the ship. But, yeah, I thought it was done better in this film and stuff. I mean, that's ghost shit. I got nothing else. Later.